Shabbat Shalom. Shalom. I'm Azrael, Brother Donal. It's another Sabbath class, right? We're the hopeful elect, and we're, just praying that we are making our calling in our election sure and provoking all those who follow us or all those who, fellowship with us to do the same, to make your calling in election sure, to be the hopeful elect, right? Because, hey, not everybody has hope. When you read through the scriptures, it was really a grace thing that we receive hope. You know what I'm saying? So just having hope in itself is a major thing, right? But today we're going to talk about burning your idols, right? So let's get straight into it. Let's go to 2 Kings 10 and 18.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 10 and verse 18. And Jehu gathered all the people together.
Right,
and
Jehu was a king. If you haven't read the book of 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, I advise you to do so because, hey, we always say the Bible is black history once you come into the knowledge of the truth. If you didn't know, the Bible is black history, right? And when you read things like the Chronicles, the Kings, right? That's our history. That's our lineage. That's our ancestors, right? So we don't need a Mount Rushmore when we have the Bible. You know what I'm saying? We don't need a history book to find out who our ancestors were when we have the Bible. In the world that we live today, they have textbooks, right? This is our textbook. We don't go into our white educational school system and look at the advanced placement United States history and say, that's my forefather. We don't say that because they don't look like us, right? We don't say that's my ancestor. Dang, my people are some great people. Dang, my people conquered this land. We don't say that because those aren't our ancestors, even though they teach that that's our forefathers. Those are somebody's forefathers, but they're not ours. So this Bible, right, has a list of our forefathers in it, right? You can read them in 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles. You can also read about it in 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, the book of Judges, right? These are our forefathers, right? So let's get this. Read.
And Jehu gathered all the people together and said unto them, Ahab served Baal.
Right? So Jehu was one of the kings that was set up, right, to destroy wickedness. He was set up to destroy all the wicked idols and all the wicked temples and all the different worships of Baal, right? Which we know, if you don't know who Baal is or what Baal is, right, for layman's terms, Baal is just, we'll say the left-hand side. It's wickedness. It's a wicked God, all right? So a wicked God was set up in the land that our people was serving. We wasn't supposed to be serving that. So God had to raise up a prophet to prophesy that Baal would come, right, and set things straight. So Selaki, that a prophet would come and prophesy that Jehu would come and destroy all of Baal's worshipers and all of the idols that Baal set, right? So Jehu finally came, and Jehu was actually doing these things, and this is how he did it, right? Because it was prophesied that he would do it, but they didn't know how he was going to do it. Jehu was witty, right? And he came up with this master plan, and that's what we're finna read right now, right? Little backstory. So keep reading. Read the scripture title 2.
2 Kings chapter 10 and 18 from the top. And Jehu gathered all the people together and said unto them, Ahab served Baal a little.
Right, so he took the kingdom and he gathered everybody that's in the kingdom now that he took the kingdom. And he said, Ahab, right, who was Jezebel's husband, who we know we don't want to have that Ahab spirit. We don't want that spirit where our wives control us, where we let females destroy the ways of a king, right? We don't want that spirit. Ahab had that spirit. So Ahab was much like Solomon, where he let his wife kind of influence him to build up wickedness, build up wicked idols, build up wicked temples, wicked holidays, right? So Ahab had to be destroyed for that. And Jehu came on the scene after Ahab was destroyed. And he gathered these people together, right? Read.
Ahab served Baal a little, but Jehu shall serve him much.
Right? So he's trying to tell the people, hey, look, it's a big deception plan that Jehu is doing right now. He's trying to say, guess what? You guys love Ahab, but he only served Baal. He only served, we'll say for layman's terms, Satan, right? He only served Satan this much, but I'm going to serve Satan this much, right? It's a deceptive plan. He's trying to play on the emotions of the people because he's trying to get rid of the wickedness in the land, right? So let's see how Jehu's going to destroy the wickedness of the land, right? Read.
Now therefore call unto me all the prophets of Baal,
right?
All his servants and all of his priests.
Right, so Jehu said, guess what? Everybody that's a servant of Satan, the prophets of Satan, all the priests of Satan in the satanic church, guess what? Bring them all to me. For what? Read.
Let none be wanting, for I have a great sacrifice to do to Baal.
Right, we got a big holiday coming up, and I want to do a sacrifice for all the people of the land that worship Satan or worship Baal as well. Read.
Selaki. Whosoever shall be wanting, he shall not live. But Jehu did it subtly, to the intent that he might destroy the worshippers of Baal.
Right, so he did all this. Why? Read that again.
But Jehu did it subtly, to the intent that he might destroy the worshippers of Baal.
Right, so he deceived these people, right? He called all these people saying, hey, look, I'm finna throw this big shindig for Baal, and everybody's invited. So if you worship him, if you're a priest, if you're a prophet, if you're just a follower, hey, come to this temple, right? Come to this place. I'm gonna gather everybody, and we're gonna have a good time. But in the back of his mind, he's thinking, as soon as these people come, I'm going to kill them, right? That's what he just said. He said he dealt subtly with them, meaning what? Deceptively, gentle, kind. They didn't see it coming, right? So that he might destroy all the worshipers of Baal, right? Of Satan, right? Read.
Verse 20. And Jehu said, proclaim a solemn assembly for Baal.
Right, so he said, hey, look, proclaim a holiday for Baal, for Satan, right? And tell everybody, hey, look, we finna have a good time. A solemn assembly. Read.
And they proclaimed it. Verse 21. And Jehu sent through all Israel and all the worshippers of Baal, and they came, so that there was not a man left that came not.
Right. Read.
And they came into the house of Baal, and the house of Baal was full from one end to another.
Right. So guess what? They all came from everywhere after this decree was made. If you worship Baal, you came to this shindig. Right? That the new king, Jehu, was holding. You like, damn, we got a new king and he's doing it better than the old king. We still get to worship Baal, right? So guess what? Everybody came to this solemn assembly and everybody came to this temple, to this building, right? That this shindig was going to happen to, right? Keep in mind, Jehu was going to kill all these people, right? For example, that would be like if you're trying to catch a rat, right? You're going to set up a trap with cheese in it. Cheese is good to a rat, right? But then when that rat goes to get that cheese, guess what happens? The rat is killed, right? So he's setting up a rat trap right now for everybody that worship Baal. He's setting up a solemn assembly, a feast, right? A proclamation for a holiday, a folly day, right? And so when they come and they take the bait, when they take the cheese, Jehu gonna kill him. Let's see how he do it. Read.
Verse 22. And he said unto them that was over the vestry, bring forth the vestments for all the worshippers of Baal.
Right. Read.
And he brought them forth with vestments. And Jehu went and
Selaki. So right here, I'm gonna stop for a second, right? Because if we retract back up earlier, it said all that were wanting, right? So if you wanted to worship Baal, guess what? You was gonna come. But if you did not want to worship Baal, you wasn't gonna come. That decree wasn't for you, right? So this is how he's purging the rebels from amongst Israel. Everybody that was brainwashed, everybody that was doing wickedness, worshiping the enemy, right? They had to get purified out. The land had to be purified. He had to cleanse the blood by the blood that was shed therein, right? Because they was making sacrifices, wicked sacrifices with blood and stuff like that to Baal. So what do he have to do? He has to purify the land. He has to leave all those, right? Just like with Noah's Ark. He had to leave all those in the land that didn't worship Baal. And everybody that did worship Baal, he had to take them away with the flood. Let's see what the flood was, right? Keep reading.
Verse 23. And Jehu went and Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, into the house of Baal and said unto the worshippers of Baal.
Right, so he's making a decree. Now everybody's done. Everybody's got together. Everybody's smiling, happy, getting ready to worship Baal. And this is what Jehu, their new king, just said to them, right?
Search and look that there be here with you none of the servants of the Lord.
Right, so he said, hey, look, Now he's trying to make sure that none of the servants of the Lord is in the place of the worship of Baal. So he's looking out for God's people, right? They think that he's just mad, right, with God's people. If you serve the Lord, you can't be here. That's what they think. But Jehu is trying to make sure, hey, look, none of the servants of the Lord has entered accidentally. Because there might be somebody who has a child that worships the Lord, right? But they just had to bring him anyway because that was their child. But here, Jehu is saying, hey, look, if your child worships the Lord, let your child go back home. If your grandmother, right, you came over here because your grandmother, you know, she grew up worshiping Baal. She grew up in the Baal church. Sound familiar? She grew up in the Baal church. And you just came because she came, guess what? You got to leave now because you worship the Lord. You don't worship Baal, right? So Jehu is making a distinction. If you worship the Lord, you can't be here, right? And this is where we have to follow instruction, right? We got to take heed because, hey, look, sometimes instruction might save your life, right? Read.
Right. But the worshipers, Selaki, I'll read up again.
Yeah, read the scripture title too.
This is 2 Kings 10 and 23. Search and look that there be here with you none of the servants of the Lord,
right,
but the worshipers of Baal only.
Right.
Verse 24. And when they went into offer sacrifices and burnt offerings, Jehu appointed 80 men without and said, if any of these men,
right. So score is what? 20, right? So 4 times 20 is what? It's 80. So he appointed 80 men, right? Exactly, right? He appointed 80 men for what? Read.
Jehu appointed 80 men without and said, if any of the men who I have brought into your hands escape, he that letteth him go, his life shall be for the life of him.
Right, so these 80 men were set with a task, right? He said, if you let them out this building, guess what? I'm coming for you. I don't care if it's your mom. I don't care if it's your cousin. I don't care if it's your sister-in-law. Guess what? If you let them out, because I gave them an opportunity to get out, right? A lot of people watch Squid Games. A lot of people watching Squid Games, there's a lot of memes going around. If you haven't watched Squid Games, it's a series on Netflix, right? And they gave the people an opportunity to get out. He said, if you don't want to participate in the game, now's your chance to leave. But if you don't, they made them sign a contract saying that once you start the game, you can't quit, right? And now when they playing red light, green light, and they know now if they lose the game, they're getting sniped by a gun, they can't leave the game no more. Hey, look, that's through the spirit, right? That's through the spirit, because I just watched that a few days ago with my rib. They did what Jehu did. They trying to get rid of the debtors of the land. Jehu's trying to get rid of the sinners of the land, right? And so that's what's going on here, right? Keep reading. So he tasked these men. If you watch Squid Games, you see the men in the red suits, right? And they have the circles on their face. And there's one man that has the square on their face, right? The triangle, right? And so the one man with the different symbol on his face, he would be Jehu. And he tasked everybody else. You see them with their machine guns. They all like this, right? He tasked those 80 men to be like that, just like Squid Games. If anybody leave, kill them. If anybody, I don't care if you're related to them, kill them because they worship Baal. That's what Jacob's saying. Keep reading. Hey, you gonna have to keep your finger on it, bro.
I mean, you be telling me to read and then
go ahead.
And it came to pass as soon as he had made an end of the offering to the burnt offerings that Jehu said to the guard and to the captains, go in and slay them. Let none come forth.
He said, go in and what?
Go in and slay them.
No, go in and tell them they're doing a good job.
Go in and slay them.
No, he said, go in and have a good time with them and worship Baal.
Go in and slay them.
So this is why he got all of them to go to the temple of Baal, to slay them, to purify it, right? God said he's going to do what? He's going to purge out the leaven. He's going to purge out the rebels in the land. So if you're in idolatry, right, you're a rebel because you're against what? The first 3 commandments. The first 3 commandments, it pretty much tell you to have no other God, don't make no graven image, don't have idolatry, don't take the Lord's name in vain. You doing all of that when you're in idolatry. So you got to get purified out the land, right? You have to be purged out. He's going to purge out the rebels out the land. And he's been doing that in all the lands that we've dwelt in, with the Maccabees, with this instance right here. You know what I'm saying? Any land that we go with in the wilderness, right? With Joshua and Caleb, with, any land we go in, he's going to always purge those rebels out of Israel. You know what I'm saying? For doing wickedness. Right? Keep reading.
Go in and slay them.
Go in and slay them. So this is Jehu's big subtle plan. His big subtle deception. Right? He got these people to slay them. But at the beginning, it looked like he was going to be enjoying Baal with them. Or Satan. Right? Read.
Go in and slay them. Let none come forth. And they smote them with the edge of the sword. And the guard and the captains cast them out and went to the city of the house of Baal.
Right? So guess what? They slayed them. So read a little bit more.
Verse 26. And they brought forth the images out of the house of Baal and burned them.
So, hey, look, today we're talking about burning your idols. Right? So check this out. Now, these people that went to the temple of Baal, they might have grew up in the Baal church. They might have thought Baal was the way. They might have been lied to about the image of Baal and the name of Baal. They might have thought Baal was the same religion that their forefathers was doing because they was taught that way. But it doesn't matter what they was believing. They were tainted in the mind, so they had to be purified. They had to be purged out.
Let me get that in verse 28. Verse 28. Thus Jehu destroyed Baal out of all Israel.
Right. How did he destroy Baal out of all Israel? By destroying the people that worshipped him. Right. So nowadays, you know what I'm saying? It said he took all the idols and burned them. What does that mean? Nowadays, we can see that in the Christian church. Once you know that, hey, look, if you take a little bit of truth and wrap it in a lie, it's a lie. The lie always is going to overmask a little bit of truth, right? It's got to be a full truth. So take the Christian church, for example. Take that as the church of Baal, right? Because we know that the image of white Jesus has been set up. Names have been changed. Things aren't being taught. Different holidays have been worshipped. This is the Baal church. Now, you might have family members in the church. You might have been raised in the church and you thought that was the way. You might have been given over to a deceptive lie. But you got to get purged out if you're still caught in Christianity. When the end comes, you're going to be those people that Jehu destroyed. Do you think that they thought they was doing wrong? Some of those people grew up that way, right? But Jehu had to get them out. That's how he destroyed Satan. That's how he destroyed Baal out the land, right? Was getting rid of the people that worshiped him. Because if there's nobody that worships him, he doesn't exist no more. It's an idol, right?
It starts the strife within your nation. Same thing with back when we were in the wilderness with Moses, right? Moses and the generations that were with Moses, right? They couldn't make it over into the promised land because they were so tainted in the mind that God had to purge them out and start all over again. Because it's like, if we let them over into the promised land, then all the wickedness and all of the knowledge of evil that they had in the wilderness is going to trickle into this promised land. And he didn't want that to happen.
Get Isaiah 14 and 21 real quick. Everybody knows Isaiah 14. Everybody knows Isaiah 14 and 21, but we can make that same, you know what I'm saying, that same point. Read that real quick.
This is Isaiah 14 and verse 21.
Right.
Prepare slaughter for his children.
And we always use this to cut Esau and to cut the white man and to cut anybody that their forefathers did wickedness with, really. But read that.
But the concept is still double to that. What Chase. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquities of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
Right, because if you don't do that, if you don't purge out those people, guess what? They're just going to rise up again and repeat the same actions. Right? So that's what Jehu was doing, right? And so we can see that like I said, as the Christian church. The Nation of Islam, some people raised up in the Nation of Islam, they think that's the way, worshiping a stone, right? Or we can see that as any other idol. You could be in a Greek fraternity. You don't want to give that up, right? You might grew up legacy, seeing it in your house. Your parents both Greek life, right? You think that's the way. But hey, look, Jehu coming to slay you, right? The Messiah's coming to slay you, right? And you can't do nothing about it. And so I always tell people it would look crazy if I went into a Christian church, pulled down the cross, set it on fire, pull down the pulpit, set it on fire, get every single one of you know what I'm saying, just set the whole place on fire. But it says to burn the idols. That's what's in these places. It would look strange if I went into a frat house and took all their Greek letters and burnt it with fire, destroyed everything and broke all the idols, right? In today's societies, I would be looked at as the crazy one, right? But that's what the Most High God calls us to do, right? I see some Israelites, they have that spirit on them to graffiti and to burn and break idols, you know? And it kind of makes some of us feel uneasy sometimes and like, oh, they're doing too much, or, you know, that's not the spirit we're supposed to be in. But God said, go inside and burn and break their idols. Bring them out and stump on them, you know? So, you got a precept?
Reading real quick.
All right, I wanted to go to Deuteronomy 7:25 real quick. Go into a little further of burning your idols, right? This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 25. Deuteronomy 7:25. The graven images of their gods shall ye burn with fire. So, hey, look, everything that's wicked, you know somebody that's in Islam, go in their house, get all their stones, burn it with fire. This is a commandment. You know somebody, Greek life, guess what? You might you might be a roommate with somebody that's Greek life. Go in their room when they not home and burn their stuff with fire. That's a commandment. But a lot of us, we're not austere enough, we're not serious enough about this truth to do stuff like that. And this is just a gut check to all of us, even me, right? I had the opportunity to, you know, do something, do that, you know? But did I do it? No, I didn't, because of the mindset that we're in over here. We're not as serious as say terrorists in the Middle East are. They're willing to give their life, you know what I'm saying, to burn the idols of other gods. You know what I'm saying?
You got something?
I was going to finish this real quick. The graven images of their gods shall ye burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the silver or gold that is on them, right? The riches, the wisdom, the high position of jobs, right? We shouldn't desire all that stuff that comes with these idols, this idolatry, or gold that is on them, nor take it unto thee, lest thou be snared therein, right? What does snared mean? You're going to be trapped. The people that Jehu got in the building were snared. They were set into a trap, right? For it is an abomination to the Lord thy God, right? We're not supposed to have no idols. Bring your precept out.
I was going to make a quick point real quick. The same thing Jehu did when he was purging out the rebels and whatnot. It's the same context of what the mighty prophet Ezra was doing, right? When we see in First Esdras, when he's tasked with trying to bring forth the glory of the nation of Israel again, right? And he's trying to reestablish Israel as a nation, and he gets permission from the king, right? And they're going through things that we're gonna substantiate them and put them on a clean slate. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of the things that he had to do. Like Jehu purged out the worshipers of Baal, we had to purge out some people to put us on that clean slate as well with Ezra, right? This is First Esdras chapter 8. And I'm going to start at verse 92, right? Then Jeconias, the son of Jaelus, one of the sons of Israel, called out and said, O Esdras, we have sinned against the Lord. We have married strange women of the nation of the land, and now is all Israel aloft, right? And so when we see this, we understand what they're saying. They're saying it's a sin because we were told not to mingle with other nations. Why? Because when we mingle with other nations, that's when you start getting that leaven to come in, right? That's when we start getting the knowledge to serve other gods, right? Because we give our strength unto these women, and before you know it, customs and laws and vain sacrifices start to creep in our nation, and then we, as a nation, we go aloft. Right? Like verse 92 said, 93, let us make an oath to the Lord that we will put away all our wives, which we have taken of the heathen with their children, like as thou hast decreed, and as many as do obey the law of the Lord, right? And so what is the reason why we're why at this time that they're putting away the wives and they're putting away their children, right? Because you got to understand that Ezra's trying to establish Israel as a strong nation again. Right. And he wants us to set that standard. He wants to set that standard just off jump. And so to do that, you got to clean the slate clean. Right. We only dealing with Israel, and we got to start on how we were intended to be. So we gotta. So they're making the I forgot. I don't know the word, but they're making the altogether consensus. They're making a consensus together, right, to go ahead and eliminate all the women and the children, right, because they're trying to eliminate all of that extra stuff that doesn't need to be in the nation. And this is kind of the same thing that Jehu was doing, because any great king, any great prophet, any great judge, right, they're gonna seek, you know what I'm saying, to have, when the kingdom is established under them, they want it to be as much aligned with the Most High as possible. That's what makes a king great. You know what I'm saying?
Precept. All right. I got a precept too. This goes into.
You might have to come closer.
Oh, they can't hear me?
I don't know yet.
Can they hear me?
I'm not sure.
I was gonna say precept for the topic of discussion would be Habakkuk 2 and 18, and it reads, "What profited the graven image that the maker thereof hath given it, the molten image and the teacher of lies that the maker of his work trusted therein to make dumb idols." Verse 19, "Woe unto him that said to the wood, awake, to the dumb stone, arise. It shall teach. Behold, it is laid over with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all in the midst of it. But the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him." So this is going to say the graven images profit nothing. You know, and woe unto him that tells the wood to awake and the stone to arise, and that they'll teach, right? Because if you go to Psalm chapter 135, it's talking about the dumb idols that have eyes and see not, they have ears but hear not, you know what I'm saying? And they have nostrils, but they breathe not, you know what I'm saying?
They can't even wash themselves.
Exactly. So
if they're in a building that's burning, they can't save themselves.
So the engraven images, these idols that we worship, they profit nothing, you know? It's all a part of prophecy according to Deuteronomy 4 and 28, though. But go ahead, King. Are you?
That's a good point. Hey, look, these idols can't do nothing for you, but when you're raised up into idolatry, when you're raised up in a lie, you think that these idols are powerful. So we can't just look at certain people and be like, how can they believe such a thing, right? Because, hey, look, they was raised up that way, to think that that was the truth, to think that, you know, that was the way, right? So this is Deuteronomy 12. Selaki 12 and 3, right? It reads, "And ye shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire." Right? So like I said, it would be weird if I was just to go into a church and start flipping over tables like Christ did. It would be weird for me to go into a mosque, right, and start flipping over things and picking up their rugs and throwing it, burning everything with fire. It would look weird if I did that. It would look weird if I went into a Masonic temple or a Greek fraternity house or sorority house and started burning stuff with fire. It would look weird. They would think I was crazy. They would call the police on me and I would go to jail for doing the laws of God, because God told us to do this, right? Khan, Shalom, King. "And ye shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire, and ye shall hew down the graven images of their gods and destroy the names out of them, out of all those places," right? Hey, look, being over here in this wicked land, we've been born into idolatry. We've been born into thinking things are that aren't, right? We think, you go to the Christian church, they have what? Full sermons on the cross. Come to the cross. Return to the cross. Pick up your cross, right? Not having any understanding about what the cross actually is in the Bible, making it idolatry. It said that we will serve wood and stone according to Deuteronomy 28. Right? That stone with the Kabbalah stone, right? People travel to Mecca to see a stone. That stone can't save you. But people have been brought up in that lie, right? And they think that has power. And it doesn't. So God is saying, hey, look, destroy all these idols. And like Ak broke out, these idols can't do nothing for you. Right? That wooden cross can't do nothing for you, but kill you. You know what I'm saying? Literally. So check this out. Get Leviticus 26 and 1. Did you have a precept or something? Mm-mm. Yeah, get Leviticus 26 and 1. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 26, and verse number 1. And it reads, "Ye shall make you no idols
nor graven image, neither rear you up a standing image.
Right. So we always pull this out against Christians as well when we see the cross, or even against spiritual people that be wearing stones on them. I always say, hey, look, who created that stone? You know what I'm saying? You wearing that stone and you got your trust in that stone, but that stone can break. That stone can burn up. That stone can be destroyed. It can be made into powder. How does that stone on your neck control your life? How does that graven image, you still have Christ, who you call Jesus, who you still have Jesus on the cross on your neck, right? And you say that represents your faith. So your faith is the same as the Romans' faith that killed Christ. You think that he deserved to die, and you wear it on your neck like a pendant, right? Or decapitate his head and just wear the Jesus piece with the ice in his hair, right? You wear it as a pendant, right? But we see that as what? Idolatry. He tells us not to do that. You tell that to some of these Christians, like when we go to camp and stuff, they get a little offended. You know, they kind of start gainsaying, well, you got a chain on, well, you did. But brother, we're not bound down to what's on us. We can take it off and throw it away. But you have a stronghold on you, and that's idolatry. You have a stronghold on you when you're smoking weed. You have a stronghold on you when you just doing stuff like when you smoke weed, what you doing it for? You're doing it to get high, to feel good. You have a stronghold on you to get tattoos, right? That's vanity. Why you need tattoos on you? You know what I'm saying? You have a stronghold on you to go to church every Sunday, right? Because he told us that he's not in temples made with hands, buildings made with hands. But you feel like you got to do it. That's an idolatry. All of that is mental, right? Selaki, this is 1 Maccabees 1:56. The book of 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 56 reads, and when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. So why should we do that to these people that's in idolatry, whether they know it or not? Because guess what? They did that to God. They did that to the Most High. They burnt our books with fire, our laws with fire, right? But we have a short memory because they've discontinued us from our heritage. So we don't take it serious like we should take it serious, right? When it comes to idolatry, we let stuff slide. Well, they can do what they want to do, right? Who am I to tell them that they can't do that? Hey, if they want to do it, let them do it. Why are we like that as a people? We should be just like the terrorists in the Middle East. If you don't want to get down with the Most High, guess what? You're going to get destroyed. And that's how we are as a people. I put this on my story about 4 months ago. Think about it. If the Bloods, the Crips, the MS-13, Modest of the Trucha, you know what I'm saying? If the Vice Lords, if all these people were Israelites and was willing to treat the Bible, to treat God's laws like what? Like the colors of a flag, like family, right? Like the mob, right? If they were willing to treat it that serious, right, people would take the children of Israel more serious. But we don't do that. We fight over a color. We kill over a color. We kill over a block, over a street, when we have a whole heritage to fight over. We have a whole heritage to defend, right? And if people don't want to get down with that, then that's when we pull out the strap, right, with the extended clip. That's when we get bloody. You know what I'm saying? We do that then. But now our eyes evil towards each other because of idolatry, right? We make these gangs of idols too.
Right. It should be. It's a great point, man. Because like you're saying, if you walk down if you in California, man, you walk down a certain street, and you got a certain color on, man. You know what I'm saying? Your life is in jeopardy, right? And it should be to the point where we're so strong for this faith. Like if you walk down this street and you know a whole bunch of Israelites over here, right? Your life in jeopardy. You come talking about some nation of Islam. You come talking about some white Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And people will be more protective over a color than the faith.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Can we defend the faith like people defend these colors?
Hey, look, and the whole world, right, is serious about their religion. Everybody is serious about their religion except for America. Right? You go to any other country, they have a God that runs things. It might be an idol, but their God runs things. You go to the Middle East, and you standing before ISIS, if you don't worship their God, they're going to kill you. If you don't abide by the laws in Dubai, you're going to jail. But how come in America you can do whatever you want to do? Because guess what? We're a big melting pot. And they have a bunch of people here that have have fornicated with the great whore, which is America, and everybody is in a deep sleep, right? When you have sex with somebody, just speaking plainly, when you have sex with somebody, after you have sex, 9 times out of 10, you go to sleep. So everybody is in what? The American dream. We're sleeping right now. We don't know our heritage. We don't know what people we are. Even the people that know who they are, they come over here and they fall asleep in the American dream, right? That's what this great whore does to the people. And guess what? From that point on, you're in idolatry. So let me read this real quick. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land. Right? So these other nations make us follow their laws. Guess what? When we came over to America, they made us follow their strange laws of the land. You're going to celebrate Christmas. You're going to celebrate Thanksgiving. You're going to celebrate the New Year. You're going to have a new name, right? They made us do that, just like every other country. So look, I take that back what I said. America does do what every other country do, because guess what? We say in God we trust when we have our pledge allegiance to the flag.
They actually took that out.
Oh, they took that out. More wickedness and confusion. But guess what? They conquered based off of a religion. Every land has been conquered based off of religion. But now religion is dying to the wayside. But God said for his people to come back to him and start ruling the earth, right, in righteousness according to his law. Because without the law, there's lawlessness, there's chaos, and there's darkness. But with the law, there's light. That's why he says the law is the light. The commandments is a lamp. If you do these things, you're going to have peace in the earth. If you do these things, you're not going to have killing in the earth. If you stop idolatry, everything will be made easy. You'll know how to live with a neighbor. You'll know how to live with your enemy. You know how to live with your family members, right?
Con, I got a precept after you.
Con, bring your precept out.
Con, so this is just a quick few precepts on touching on idols, you know what I'm saying? Because you said idolatry came into the world, you know what I'm saying? And it goes into the curses, right? And we all know people dying because of these curses. Well, I got a couple precepts. Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 12, for the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication and the invention of them of the corruption of life. So we started spiritually fornicating on the Most High God, and now all of a sudden that's because we started devising idols. Jump down to verse 27. It says that for the worshiping of idols not to be named is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil. So we're dealing with these curses, serving gods of wood and stone, because we've devising idols, worshiping idols, serving idols. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying con.
Oh, okay. And just the last precept, verse 29. For insomuch as their trust is in idols, which have no life, though they swear falsely, yet they look not to be heard. That's just basically saying, like, they swear to these idols, but they're looking to be saved. Verse 30. Howbeit, for both causes shall they be justly punished, both because they thought not well of God, giving heed unto idols, and also unjustly swore in deceit, despising holiness.
Right.
So go ahead.
So con, it's the beginning and the cause of all wickedness. You might think celebrating Christmas is not a big deal, but you got a whole idol in your house. Right? You giving presents to an idol. You decorating an idol. But you gonna tell God that it's not an idol to me. Well, how come you have to have it in your house? Then when somebody say get rid of it, you don't want to get rid of it. Why? Because it's an idol. And you've grown attached to it. You're in the Christmas spirit. You're in the spirit of that wicked idol. You're in the spirit of these wicked holidays. You're in the spirit of that wicked religion. When you can't let it go. Right? When you can't let it go, that's how you know that it is idolatry in word and deed. Right? You want to be a Rastafarian and now you find yourself smoking weed every single day and you're addicted to weed because of idolatry. It's not the truth. Right? You got that real quick? Matthew 19 and 21.
This is Matthew 19 and verse 21.
Right.
Jesus said unto him, if thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast. Go and sell that thou hast.
Right. So, and look, a good servant was talking to the good master and he said there's only one good. Right? But he gave him an answer. He said, the servant said, what do I have to do to be perfect? Considered perfect. Right? And Christ, this is red letter, he's going to give him the answer on what he has to do to be considered perfect. Right? Read.
If thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me.
Right. So he said, hey, look, give everything that you have up. A lot of us, we can't give everything that we have up because it's become idols to us, right? Because we came over to this land and made all their strange laws our God. And so it's hard for us to even imagine giving up our house or our apartment or our car, right? Or some shoes that we have or our Gucci belt. It's hard for us to imagine to give away stuff, right? What did it say after that, right?
But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful.
He went away sorrowful. Why did he go away sorrowful?
For he had great possessions.
He had great possessions. He had great idols. He had great idols in his life. So he went away sorrowful because he knew he wasn't getting rid of those idols. He wasn't going to be perfect. He wasn't going to be what Christ said was considered perfect and what you had to do to get riches in heaven. Christ was telling him, hey, look, store your riches up in heaven. And this is how you do it. This is how you be considered perfect, right? But he went away sorrowful because he didn't want to give up those idols. He didn't want to give up those goodly possessions that he had, right? And a lot of us, we don't want to give up the goodly possessions that we have. We don't want to give up some of the good jobs that we have, right, that contradict the laws of God. We don't want, some of our brothers and sisters is cooking, is at restaurants cooking up abominations to give to their people. Some of the people are barbers destroying men's beards, right? Some of the people got jobs, right, where they choose to have jobs, rather. They didn't find themselves in the truth with jobs, but they choose to have jobs, right, that what? Contradict the Sabbath day, right? And then they make excuses for themselves. So what I'm saying is this. We got to be ready to let go, right, and not walk away sorrowful. Because if you walk away sorrowful, knowing that you're not going to let it go, that's an idol.
And that's one thing that we get caught up with in the world, man. And the stronghold that's on the world is that we don't want to let it go because it makes us feel good. And surely God wouldn't take it away from us if it's something that makes us feel good, right? But even in this precept, we can see that the man went away sorrowful because his riches actually made him feel good. You know what I'm saying? And Christ was like, hey, man, I know it makes you feel good, but you ain't cut out for this if you're not willing to let it go.
Because
right?
why?
Because your focus shouldn't be on the stuff that's tangible that you see right now, right, but you should be focused on what's to come, right? Store your riches above on the future. Right now it's time to do work. You shouldn't be relaxing. You shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? Especially the children of Israel, right? I know there's anomalies and whatnot, but all in all, man, we all as a collective, we got a lot of work to do. And so there shouldn't be not one Israelite that's just sitting back chilling and loving the place that we're in as a nation, right? I know the elder Yahweh, he has said, what does it matter if you ran for X amount of yards if the team loses, right? And so everybody got to constantly putting in work, man, woman, and child, until we get to that place where we can get to our riches that we stored in heaven. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because if you let anything come between you and your spot in heaven or your riches in heaven, it's an idol. If you literally have to make an excuse to do something, right, and you can't let it go, it's an idol, bruh. When you're risking your position in eternity, right? Even family members can be seen as what? Idols. This is why he said in Luke 14, Selaki, he said in Luke 14 verse 26, right? If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciples, right? When it might come to a point where the Spirit is convicting you to take a hit, to take a bullet for somebody, and you choose to be selfish and not do it, right? Guess what? It's what greater love than this to somebody that would lay down his life for his friend, right? But a lot of us, we think about our own selves. We can't even hate our own self. What does it mean to hate your own self? We can't tell ourselves that we're wrong. We can't give ourselves counsel internally, right? We're not ready to give up our wife. Hey, look, Lot was ready to give up his wife. He didn't even look back when she looked back and she turned into a pillar. He didn't even look back.
I got a precept too.
Right? Abraham left his parents to a land that he didn't know where he was going. Right? Your family members, your spouse, your children, it doesn't matter. Anything can become an idol. And that's why God said, if you're not ready to hate everything, right? He said, let the dead bury the dead. Right. But Christ, I want to follow you. I just want to go and bury my father. He just passed away. He said, let the dead bury the dead. That's how serious he got.
Selaki.
Are you, Selaki, I'm going to get you. He said, are you willing to follow me? This is the test. I don't have nowhere to stay. If you want to follow me, you got to endure the hardships that I'm doing. I don't have nowhere to stay. Hey, look, he said, all these animals, they got places to go. They got places to stay, but I don't have nowhere to lay my head. Are you willing to follow me? Yeah. Well, guess what? You can't bury your dad.
Right.
Guess what? You can't go say goodbye to your family members and say that you're going to come follow me. It's either you throw your nets down, you throw your fishing rods down now and come with me, or you don't come at all. You're not fit, right? Bring your precept out.
Right. And he followed that up by saying, any man that picks up the plow, looking back, you know what I'm saying, is not fit for the kingdom. I was going to go to Luke 9 and verse 23, and I'm going to read 23 and 25, right? 23 says, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself, right? So this is denying everything that's within you, everything that you feel like you want to do. You can't be out here just doing what you want to do, right? Going down to verse 25, right? For what is a man's advantage if he gain the whole world and lose himself or be cast away? So what is your advantage if you gain everything in this world just because it's tangible, right? And just because it gives you a sense of comfortability, right? Just to find out that you're going to lose your whole soul in the end, right? Because all this stuff is going to leave quicker than you think. You know what I'm saying? But that world to come is going to be established forever. You know
all this world is idolatry, right? I seen a video that a brother did, and I posted it on my personal page. But he was basically saying, hey, look, if I know the building is burning, I'm going to tell all my people to get out the building. The building is burning, right? Jehu did what? Jehu pretty much had a burning building, right? And he said, hey, look, if you follow the Lord, get out. You know what I'm saying? And that's all we're telling our people to do. Get out of that idolatry. Burn your idols, right? This is, Selaki. This is Mark 12 and 44. Mark 12 and 44. For all they did cast in their abundance, right? This is when the disciples was establishing the church after Christ had left, right? And they was taking a free will offering, not tithes. They was taking a free will offering, all right? And so this free will offering, people gave their great possessions and people gave what they could, right? So let's keep that in context. So this is Mark 12 and 44. For all they did cast in their abundance, but she of her want did cast in all that she had, even all her living, right? So guess what? Everything that you live with can be seen as an idol. You don't want to let it go. It's become an idol. You worship it. You praise it. You think about it. You meditate on it, right? Sometimes brothers get nice cars, and I'm at fault to this too. Sometimes brothers get nice cars, and guess what happens? You thinking about your car. When you in a parking lot, you taking pictures of it. It looks so beautiful. You worshiping that car. That's an idol. Right? You're not willing to give up that car. Somebody hit your car, you pissed off for the day. You know what I'm saying? That's an idol. But this lady, she was ready to give up everything. She was ready to give up everything as a free will offering, everything that she had. And that's what we have to be able to do. We have to be able to give our livelihoods up. So if we have to be able to give our livelihoods up, what's an idol? What's smoking weed? What's banging? What's a religion? Right? You should be able to give those things up easy. Right. Because you should be ready to give up everything for the kingdom.
And it's funny, man, because it's like this is Christ speaking to these folks. You know what I'm saying? And he's telling you, hey, look, I got you, what these Christians like to say, a free ticket into heaven. You know what I'm saying? But this is Christ, because now he really knows what's going to get you into the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? He's giving you these requirements, and these people are stumbling. You know what I'm saying? Like, even like nowadays, Christ comes up to you, right? And a lot of us say, man, if Christ told me to do something, I'm going to do it, right? But a lot of us would be hesitant, especially a lot of us that love life. You know what I'm saying? That love the life that they're living right now. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's always good, as Proverbs 30 says, don't give me riches and don't give me poverty, right? Because he comes up to you and asks you, hey, look, get rid of everything you say. And us as people, he gonna be looking at us dead in our eyes, man. As soon as that eye twitch, like, I don't know. Right. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be like, you're not fit for the kingdom, man.
You're not fit.
You know what I'm saying?
He's going to say, he austere, man. He's going to be like, you're not fit for the kingdom.
You're hesitant. It's not for you. I'm sorry.
You're not willing to give up. Oh, you're not willing to give up that idol. It's over with. That's a good point, though. It's a great point because, check this out. People literally are looking for the answer. They're looking for truth. We're in a time right now where we're searching for truth. And the Israelites, who have been chiefly committed to the oracles of God, is given that truth, and people don't want to receive it. Just like this man, he walked away sorrowful. Christ gave him the answer that he wanted. The wicked flee when no man pursue it.
And it was crazy as he walked away sorrowful, but this is the actual gospel, which is the good news. Why are you walking away sorrowful from hearing the good news?
From the man that was prophesied to bring it, right? It said the wicked flee when no man pursue it. This man, hey, look, Christ didn't pursue this man. This man came seeking Christ saying, hey, how can I be perfect? How can I get into the kingdom? And Christ gave him the answer and he fled.
He didn't like the answer.
Hey, look, Christ saw that how wicked this man was. Everybody might have come into this man like, yeah, this man do alms. Well, no, Selaki, he didn't do alms. This man keep the commandments. He go to all the holy days. He has the best garments. He always has a smile on his face. But he was lacking charity and he was lacking the spirit of denial when it came to the world.
And the crazy part is Christ knows how to read spirits, man. So he already knew. And the same thing for us all as individuals. He knows how to pull your card, right? So that's how you know you got to be right within yourself to know emphatically, if Christ says something, I'm going to do it. Because he knows how to pull your card. And when he pulls your card, he knows your spirit and he knows you're going to fold every single time, right? And you don't want to be at that level where you fold for anything.
And I know in the truth, you know what I'm saying, when we trying to get this word out to people and everybody can attest to it, camps, congregation, or who the nation calls individualites, right? Everybody can attest when you sharing the truth, you sharing it to somebody that might not receive it, right? There's always an option that they might receive it or they might not receive it. But we know for a fact that a lot of people will gravitate and say, yeah, what you're saying is true until you point out something that convicts them. Oh, I can't be gay. There was nobody that was gay in the Bible. Oh, I don't want to be in the truth. Right. You saying I can't smoke weed? I don't think the truth for me. They walk away sorrowful, just like this brother did. We giving them the answers and the keys to the kingdom, but they walk away sorrowful because they know it's an idol. They know it controls their life. Right. You know, this is the truth, but you got to come out of that Christian church, brother.
Right.
And the Christian church don't hurt, but you got to come out of it, brother. It's an idol. You got to come out of them holidays. Well, I can't celebrate Christmas. I don't think the truth is for me. I understand I'm an Israelite, but I don't think the truth is for me, bro. I think there's other answers.
And people always think they're an anomaly. They always think they're a special case. Me personally, even when I was in the world, I thought I was a special case. I could do whatever I want and God was going to have favor on me, right? But at the end of the day, we see that Christ does not need not damn one of us. You know what I'm saying? And when we understand that, hey, it's on to the next. He do like priest Havoc say when he said, hey, give up. He said, what can I do to be perfect? He said, well, give up everything that you have. And he walked away sorrowful. Well, Christ is gonna look at you like priest Havoc, and he's gonna say, well, have a nice night.
You could kind of keep it pushing.
You can kind of keep it pushing.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point too. We gotta have that mindset that Christ don't need us, right? We trying to get to where he at. We trying to get to the kingdom. Right? The kingdom, and look, there's gonna be replenishing in the kingdom. It's gonna be, and look, a multitude of people. Revelation says there's gonna be a multitude of people out of every nation that was saved. You know what I'm saying? If you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you have understanding. But he said it's gonna be a multitude of people. An innumerable amount of people is going to be saved. So guess what? Now that's still a remnant, but in the kingdom it's gonna be an innumerable amount, right? But what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say, and look, if you're not willing to give up certain things, you're not gonna make it.
You can have a nice night, man.
You can have a nice night, and that austere Lord, the strict in manner, the hurricane gase wind is gonna tell you, hey, look, you're not fit for the kingdom. You're not fit to follow me. You're not gonna make the kingdom. I'm sorry.
Ain't no half stepping going on around here.
You
man.
can't
Either
say
you all in, or if you hesitant, bro, yeah, it's not for you.
Right? You can't say, well, Lord, I just didn't receive it at that point, but now everything makes perfect sense. Now I'm willing to follow you. No,
right.
When he asked you to give it up, and you didn't want to give it up, you wanted to enjoy the ways of the world. Guess what? That was your answer.
And we see this even in the world, right? When you go into gang culture, when you go into fraternities and sororities, right? And you inquire to a gang member, or you inquire to a fraternity brother or sorority sister, right? About getting into their organization, right? They might ask you a few questions just to see where your mind's at, right? And if you're hesitant, they're gonna tell you straight up, this ain't for you, man.
This ain't for you, bro.
If they're a gang leader, man, they're gonna be like, look, man, you're a nice kid, you got a nice head on your shoulder. This ain't for you, man. Kind of keep it pushing.
If you're hesitant to give up with everything, bro, they're not going to take you.
I know.
And if you start the process and you renege on the process, they'll never take you again.
I know we was
Selaki, I just want to pull out precept real quick. You know what I'm saying? Any man, like you said, any man that picks up the plow and puts it down or looks back, you know what I'm saying, you're not fit. And that's how the people, like you said, operate in the world.
I was and just to piggyback on that, right? We used to be in fraternities in the world, you know what I'm saying? Just a practical sense, right? And we were in Omega Psi Phi, and in Omega Psi Phi, you know what I'm saying, the hazing is very, very intense, right?
Very physical.
And before you even get in there, you know what I'm saying, and you acquire it to a brother, like, yeah, I want to join your organization, they might be like, well, how do you feel about hazing? What would you do if somebody hit you upside the head with a tree branch? What would you do if this happened and this happened, right? And based upon your answer, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna be like, okay, you know what I'm saying, we'll give you a call back, or okay, well, meet me at this place at this time, or they'll tell you, okay, man, and they'll give you righteous deception. They'll be like, we might be in touch and never get in contact with you no more, or they'll tell you straight up, this ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be 100% for you. This ain't for you. And Christ is the same way, man. Like the brother was bringing out, he's an austere man, and he's gonna let you know up front, hey, look, this ain't for you, bro. Right. You hesitant
to give up weed, this ain't for you. You hesitant to leave your to disagree with your family members and have to, you know what I'm saying, shun relationships, this ain't for you. You hesitant to leave that girlfriend, this ain't for you. You hesitant to leave that boyfriend, this ain't for you. You hesitant to leave holidays, this ain't for you. You hesitant to leave the Nation of Islam, right? This is a message to Louis Farrakhan. You leading people astray, and you know you are. You hesitant to correct their path. Guess what? The kingdom not for you. It doesn't matter if you are Israelite. The kingdom's not for you. You're in idolatry.
Like the scripture says in verse 23, it says they can't enter unless they deny themselves, right? You denying everything that you would want to do, right?
You could think that you was born gay, but somebody might think that they was born a pedophile. Guess what? Y'all both got to come out of that. You got to deny yourself.
Right.
You're not special just because you gay.
It's not what you want to do.
Right. If you want the kingdom, this is what you got to do.
Right.
If you don't do it or you hesitate, the righteous is scarcely going to make it in. So what then of the sinner? You not going to make it. You in idolatry. Your lifestyle, like the brother brought out, idolatry is the beginning and the cause of all evil.
And that's why it says the harvest is great, but there's few laborers, because few people actually sit down and understand that, hey, look, you know what I'm saying? It's not anything that I want to do, but I'm doing everything that this word tells me to do. We were just talking about this yesterday, right? You know what I'm saying? When we came into this truth, it comes to a point where somebody asks you a question like, what's your passion? What do you want to do in life? And the only thing you can come up with is, my passion is really this Bible, man. My passion is really waking up these people, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't really care what I do for money. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to give me a sense of fulfillment. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand what I'm here to do, and I understand that I have denied myself and submitted to Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. And it says the whole duty of man is to fear God and keep his commandments. You know what I'm saying?
Right, Con. So, hey, look, what we did right now is what? We cut you. We might not have cut all you on this live, or that's going to watch this message. But for some of y'all, we cut you. You might have been reflecting on some things that you are hesitant to give up in your life. Right? And they cut you, right? It says the word is sharp as a two-edged sword, right? Dividing the flesh, dividing the truth, right? So we might have, guess what? Cut you, but now it's time to put the Band-Aid on you. Now it's time to put the salve on you, the hyssop plant, right? The anointing oil, and put the Band-Aid on you so you can heal, right? So let's go to 2 Timothy 3 and 5.
This is the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 5.
Right.
Having a form of godliness.
Now it says, as it's written, ye are gods. Right? It says it in the New Testament and the Old Testament. Ye are gods. So if you're gods, you have a sense of power. Right? Didn't our forefathers call fire from heaven? Didn't our forefathers raise the dead? Didn't our forefathers heal the sick, the blind? Right? You have power. Didn't our forefathers lead nations of people? You have power. Young man, young woman in the nation of Israel, because we're made in the likeness of who? Of him. If he has power, we got power. We're the prince of the power. Right? Read that. 2 Timothy 3 and 5.
Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away.
So if you have a form of godliness, don't deny the power to give up cigarettes. Don't deny the power to come out of religion. Don't deny the power to come out of a relationship. Don't deny the power that you have, right, to let something physical control your spirit, right? You have power. You can say, I don't want to do that, and you won't do it. You can say, hey, look, we learned that we have tapped into a different power coming into this truth when we start fasting. Try to fast if you're not in the spirit. Try to fast if you're not in the truth. It's going to be hard. You're not going to make it. You're going to bug yourself out to where I can eat. I can drink.
I'll try this again next week.
I'll do this next month. I don't think I'm ready right now. You don't have no power. Right. Right. You boasted in tomorrow and you got to fast. And look, he said, if you vow a vow to God, you must pay what you owe.
Or he going to get it back.
Right. So guess what? Don't deny the power that you have. Tap into the power that you have and don't deny it. Don't deny breaking and burning these idols that was once controlling your life. Get them out your life. Or else what? Verse 7.
Verse 7. Ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth.
If you don't, you're going to be ever learning. Man, I'll give up weed later. Man, I'll stop celebrating Christmas next month. Man, I'll come out my game later on. I don't see why I can't be in it right now. Right? When you making up excuses and finding a way to do your own will, like Sirach says, as a sinner does, guess what? You're going to always be trying to come into the knowledge of the truth. You're going to be ever learning.
Because you're always going to be in denial and skeptical about the truth, right? So it's going to put your mindset in a way where you're constantly trying to learn more or inquire more about what you're trying to understand, even though the truth is right there. But it says that you'll never come to the knowledge of what the truth is because you will deny it every single time.
Every single time you might come to the truth. You might think, yeah, that might be true, but then you deny that power. And now you're ever learning. You never coming into the fullness of the truth. And guess what? You back into the world. Now you're calling yourself a Christian Israelite. And you're saying you don't have to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? So we got to let go of these idols. Hey, religion can be an idol. Right? He said, how did he destroy Baal? How did he destroy Satan out of the land? He had to destroy all the worshipers. Because that's where the power is in idols, is the worshipers. Right? If there was no worshipers for these idols, there would be no power. That's the only way we see the power, because the people have power in themselves. These idols can't clean themselves. They can't walk around. If it floods, and look, when the pandemic happened last year and there was a bunch of floods in the Middle East and in India and all these places, these people was picking up their idols. These idols can't walk up out of a house to save themselves.
And on that point, you know what I'm saying? Elder Uriah, he says all the time, right, that when Christ rose, he rose again with all power. So any power that anything has over your life, you're giving it power to do so. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because Christ has all power. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He rose with all power. So anything that you giving power to, that's not because it has power, but because you're giving power to it. You're being given unto it. And that's what the scripture is speaking about when it says don't make these graven images.
Right.
And don't be given unto these idols, right?
Get Jeremiah 10, Selaki. Jeremiah 10, start at verse 1. Right? We're gonna get Jeremiah 10 starting at verse 1. And just like the brother said, we have power through Christ, right? Because Christ had power. You know what I'm saying? Because Christ had power, and guess what? He said in Philippians 4 and 13 that we could do all things through him. So that's our power, right? Anything else, we don't get power from it, right? You might have a glorious mural, right, of the Last Supper, but that Last Supper can't save you, right? You can't save that last. Like, what's the point of it being a flood and you going back in the house to get that favorite cross that you have hanging on the wall? That's idolatry, right? Right? Let's get this. Jeremiah 10, verse 1, right? We're going to go through 5 real quick, and this is how we're going to end it, right? Read.
Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
Right. And this is the word. This is the Lord speaking through us. This is us speaking. That's why we go to the scriptures, right? O house of Israel, right? Read.
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
Learn not the way of the heathen. It doesn't say learn the way of the heathen. So that's why when we tell people, no, I don't do it, it's pagan, right? When it comes to what? Holidays, wedding rings, when it comes to birthdays, We always inquiring of the former age. Why? Because you have to know our people perish for a lack of knowledge. So we always ask ourselves, what's the origin behind this? Right? Because if it was the way of the heathen, we are in contradiction of the word, because he said, do not learn the way of the heathen.
Okay.
So if the heathen were the ones that made it up, we cannot follow behind it. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what? Idolatry. Keep reading.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
Right? Don't be dismayed at all these things that they create. Right? And here it's talking about the signs of heaven, like the stars and zodiac signs, stuff like that. Right? Don't be dismayed at all these laws that they come with. Don't be dismayed with the holiday season, the different spirits that come with all this stuff. Don't be dismayed at the stuff that the heathen have made tradition. Right? Don't learn it. That's why you're always supposed to seek out if it's pagan or not. If it's pagan, don't do it. You might say, dang, that's a lot of stuff. It's not harming me in any way, but you're contradicting the laws of God. And like we said, your duty is to get to the kingdom, right? Your duty is to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. And if you said learn not the way of the heathen, you have to put into account that paganism is the way of the heathen and you can't do it, right? It may seem hard because you're living in the world right now, or the world is surrounding us, right? We're sheep in the midst of wolves. Right? And you might say, well, I have to deal wisely. But that doesn't mean contradict the words of God. Right? Read.
For the customs of the people are vain.
They're vain. They amount to nothing. Right? What verse is that?
3.
Right. They're vain. They amount to nothing. Read.
For one cutteth the tree out of the forest, the works of the hands of the workmen with an axe.
Right. So what does this sound like? Cutting a tree out the forest with an axe. Read.
They deck it with silver and with gold.
They deck the halls with folly. That's what they deck the halls with silver and gold, right? Read.
They fasten it with nails and with hammers.
They fasten it with nails and hammers. So they went and got a tree. They decked it with silver and gold. They fasten it with hammers, right? Read.
That it move not.
That it move not.
They are upright as the palm tree.
They're upright as the palm tree. What does that sound like? Right? That sounds like Christmas, right? Sound like brother said Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Folly. But like we've been saying through this whole thing, and I decided to end it here. Why did I decide to end it here? Because this is a clear distinction of idolatry in the Bible that our people have a hard time giving up. You might be controlled by your spouse. You might be controlled by your family members. You might be controlled by emotions, but you won't give it up. And you walk away sorrowful.
Right.
Knowing that it's idolatry. And you're still going to do it. It doesn't matter if you know that it's idolatry. It don't matter if you know you're an Israelite. If you still do it, if you still partake in it, you are not fit for the kingdom.
Selaki, also, just to add on, hey, look, even if you say, hey, that's not talking about Christmas, right? You got to acknowledge the fact that it says learn not the way of the heathen. And the way of the heathen is to cut down a tree, right? So like the Ark used to say all the time, why risk it? You know what I'm saying? If this is clearly a depiction of something that he told us not to do, why not be on the safe side? You know what I'm saying? Why be on the line or on the fence for if Christ to come back, right? And he knows this was a custom of old and what it's still for. If he sees you doing it now, you think people are gonna understand that you're doing it for Christ now? No, bro. He's gonna see you got this idol in your house. Right. You know what I'm saying?
You worshiping this idol. You putting a star on top of it. You giving it presents. You singing to it.
Right. He's just gonna think, hey man, they still doing this, man. They still doing this.
And look, this is how serious it is, right? Because on that day of judgment, he says he's coming quickly. Revelation 18:22. He's coming quickly to reward every man according to his deeds. So on that day of judgment, when you're facing him and he says you can't get into the kingdom, you celebrated Christmas. You know what you're gonna say? You're gonna say, "Damn, I did." Excuse my verbiage, but you're gonna say, "Dang, I did." And you can't say nothing to the Most High God or the angels because it's a testimony unto you.
Especially if you already knew the truth of the matter, right? Because you can't be up there and be like, well, I didn't think it mattered that much. You know what I'm saying? But apparently it matters if he's saying, hey, look, it's over with. You know what I'm saying? I never knew.
Folly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you can't even, like the brother just said, he's going to say, depart from me, I never knew you, because you thought you knew him. You thought you knew you was an Israelite. You thought you knew what paganism and idolatry was and that you was doing it for your own reasons, but he's going to hold that to you on the day of judgment, and you can't say nothing about it when you're judged.
I'm led to believe it's going to be a comicable time. You know what I'm saying? When people are getting judged, man, because he said he's going to laugh and he's going to mock you in your calamity, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, I'm led to believe he's just going to sit there and ask you, what does a Christmas tree have to do with me? And you're going to come up with some folly. You're going to come up with some folly, and he's gonna laugh, and he's going to say, I never knew you. I don't even know who this guy is.
And I'm led to believe we gonna be laughing too, because he said in Wisdom in Solomon 5:1 verse through like 5, he said that we're gonna stand in that great boldness and see those people that we was in derision with, that want to eat pork. Some people make pork, right, their idol. There's pork in everything in America, right? That should tell you how wicked it is. When you can't find nothing without pork, we know that America's wicked. We know that the world's wicked. So if there's pork in everything, pork must be wicked.
He said the faith and the patience of the saints. He said the saints were, it goes paraphrasing. It says that the saints are constantly nagging the Most High. Like, when are you gonna, you know what I'm saying, judge these wicked people? You know what I'm saying? I'm led to believe we're gonna be up there, kind of like when you trying to tell your friend something. No, I'm telling you, bro, it was like this. And then you get around your friend that can back you up. See, bro, tell him, right? And your big homies tell him, nah, it really was like this. And you in the background, see, I told you, man. I'm led to believe the saints are going to be like that in that day when he's judging the wicked. Because if we've been telling you for so long, right? I want you to say what you're saying to me to the Most High, bro. Right. And see if he's dealing with that. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because he's dealing with thus said the Lord, the same thing that we're giving you.
He give it to you black and white. He tell you what to do, what you can't do, and if you hesitate and you don't burn your idols, if you don't get rid of your idols, if you don't break your idols, you're not going to make it. So with that, we're going to say shalom, shalom, peace.